be
Yep.
remiss if we don't touch on the West Bank. Um, could you quickly give us your analysis of what's taking place there and how it fits into the broader spectrum of everything that is taking place?
Well, the West Bank is really the core of Israel's interest in the occupied territories. I mean, Israel's annexationist um, uh, policies have been directed not at the Gaza Strip. You know, the Gaza Strip it has blockaded, put under siege, committed genocide, and all the rest of it. But the territory that Israel wants most to annex and to depopulate is the West Bank, what it calls Judea and Samaria. And in fact, it's already annexed East Jerusalem. It's already annexed parts of the seam, the border zone between and Israel and the West Bank. And what you've seen in the past 2, 3 years, beginning actually under the previous Israeli government, um, is an astronomical expansion of Israeli violence and land grabs and settlement expansion and ethnic cleansing of particular territories, and intensification of apartheid and so on. And what it is now doing is using this permissive environment that has been created by the U.S. and unconditional European support of for Israel since October 2023. Not all European governments, but certainly the European Union
Mm,
and many European governments, to begin basically transferring its practices that it was able to implement with impunity and without any accountability of any kind by its Western sponsors and allies
mm,
in the Gaza Strip, and began now gradually to transfer these to the West Bank. That's why we've seen so much destruction in Jenin and its refugee camp, in Tulkarem and its refugee camp, in Tubas and the Farah refugee camp. And it's like a spreading ink blot. And the key issue now is whether the United States will endorse a formal Israeli annexation of West Bank territory. And there's several options here. The U.S. could recognize an Israeli claim of sovereignty over the entirety of the West Bank, over what's called Area C, which comprises some 60% of the West Bank, or of the Jewish settlements in the West Bank. And that would create an interesting situation because it was just last year,
mm,
of course, that the International Court of Justice ruled that Israel's occupation of the territories it conquered in 1967 is illegal and illegitimate and unlawful and needs to come to an end as rapidly as possible. So it's setting up another conflict between the West and civilized norms and values,
mm,
between the West and international law, between the West and international institutions, between the West and civilized norms of conduct between states.